Hello friends, welcome to ASP.NET tutorial. In this video, we will learn how to use template items in GridView so that we can customize the display. Here in this screenshot, if you see, when user clicks the edit button, it presents a template for the edit. And here, next to the edit item, that means the text box, we have the record field validator. Similarly, instead of displaying the job ID in the edit view, we are presenting the drop-down list, and from this drop-down list, user can pick a specific job title. Once the job title is picked, the job ID will be populated in the relevant field. So that means here we are going to use the template item and we want to modify the display for the edit field. For the edit of record. By default, GridView displays BoundField as grid columns. So that's the default. We can convert these bound fields as template field. So once you convert the bound field as a template field, then you can add customization to the displayed field. Once this is done in the sense, once you convert the bound field as a templated field, you can customize the displayed field the way you want. For example, look at the screenshot beside, and here two fields are customized for editing. One is the employee first name and another one is the employee's job ID. One is showing the record field validator and does not allow empty first name. So here if you see, we have a record field validator added next to the edit box. So this happens whenever user clicks the edit button. Suppose if user chooses the edit button, it will move to the edit row template, and in the edit row template we added a record field validator as well as a drop down control. This is just to pick a valid job ID, right? The second one shows the drop down list for picking the job description, and thereby it populates the job ID. So that's what we are going to do in this video. Let's learn how to perform edit template, or how to customize the view of the grid view by using the template items. Alright, let's dig into editing the template items. Let's go to the demo. Now we are in the Visual Studio and we will add a new web form. GridView 05. Templated items example. And we will place two SQL data source. First one, we are picking data from jobs. For the first one, we will pick jobs1 table. We will pick job ID and job description. Click next. So that's all we are picking for the first data source. and we will configure the second data source. So here we are creating a clone for employee, just like how we created jobs one. So 43 rows copied. Now we will refresh the tables and we will go ahead, IntelliSense, refresh local cache, and we will bring design view for the employee and set emp ID as primary key. All right. Now we will close employee table and go to our second data source, pick connection string, then click next, and this time we will pick employee 1. We will pick emp ID and first name of the employee, then job ID. So here we picked a 3 column for the employee table. Now we will go for advanced option. Here we are asking to generate the insert, update and delete statement. So to generate this, we should have one primary key, and if you see, we already have the employee ID, that is primary key in the backend, and we set it as primary key since we cloned the table. Now you can see this option is enabled. That means we can generate, insert, update as well as delete statements. All right, now we will click OK, next, finish. So 2 data sources are ready. Now we will place a grid view. And we will set employee. Okay, we will name this. So first one is picking jobs and second one is picking the employees. Right. Now we will do the auto format, apply, and pick data source as employee. Save all. Through quick menu option, we can go for enable editing, and you can see the edit button is displayed here. In our previous video, we saw how to change this as a image button, but for now, let's go ahead with the link button edit. Now, let's pick this. Even with the quick launch icon, we can go for edit columns, or you can invoke the property sheet and access the columns collection. Here first name is there, right? We will select the first name field. We don't want to change any header text. We already saw those. Since we want to use the customized template, we will convert this bound field into template field. So you can click this icon, the link, convert this field, that means the selected field, into the templated field. So we did that. We will convert job ID also as templated field, and you can see how the icon is changed, right? The first name icon is changed. Now you can look at here how the icon changes. That indicates that job ID is no more a bound field, it's a templated field, right? Now you can see the job ID. So we converted both. Now we will invoke the quick access menu and choose edit template. Now we want to edit template. For this edit click. Let's see by default what it displays. By default, when we go for edit, it displays a text box, then it asks you to edit the job ID. From 5, you can convert it to existing job ID, but you have to remember the IDs, job IDs, and you can edit it, right? Also, now you can restrict user to provide a valid first name. So at present they can leave this as empty, and when they go for update, it shows that cannot insert value null into column f name. So that's from the database. Database has a constraint illusion, and it will be good if we place a record field validator here and inform the user that first name should not be empty. Similarly, to pick a valid job ID, we can present a combo box and display all the available jobs. Let's do that using the edit template. Remember, we already converted 2 fields, first name as well as job ID, from BoundField to TemplateField. Alright, now we are in the edit item template, and let's invoke validation section and place record field validator. But before that, we need to pick a specific item. At present, we are in item template. Item template is useful to display an item, and if you want to do any formatting, you can do that, but this time we are choosing the edit item template. So this template will be displayed whenever user clicks the edit link in the record. So when I click here, you can see the edit item template displays a text box. This is where you will place your edited first name, right? But we already saw that user can place a empty text here. That's why we place record field validator next to the edit item template. Right, here you can see there is a record field validator. We added one more control to the edit item template. So let's look at the property, and if you see, the text box is text box 1, and we placed this record field validator, and the ID here is record field validator, and control to validate we need to specify text box 1. That means now it will make text box 1 as a record field. That means user cannot leave the text box 1 as empty when they are editing the row of record. Now text we will place as record. So the validation controls are already covered in one of our subseries. You can look at the playlist and locate the subseries to learn more about the record field validator. But here we are simply setting this field as a record. That's all. Now we are in the template edit mode, right? So click here and choose end template editing, and you will go back to your grid view. Now let's access the edit item for the second field. And if you see, we converted first name as well as job ID as a templated field. That's why you can see these 2 fields here, because we converted that from bound field to templated field, right? And we configured edit item template for the first name, and here this time we will use edit item template for the job ID. So I'm picking that. So at present, if you see, this is taking a text box to get job ID number. Since we want to display a combo box for this, we will completely remove this item from the edit item template. Next, since we need a combo box to display all the job description, we will go to standard section and drag and drop a drop down list combo box, and let's increase the length to occupy the higher width. And if you see, the combo box or the drop down list is indicating that it is not bound to any data source, and our goal is to display the job description here, and that can be supplied by SQL data source DS jobs. So what we will do, we will pick here and go with choose data source, right? And we will pick DS jobs here. Select a data field to display. What we want to display is job description, right? And what we want to retrieve as a value is job ID. So user will see job description. Internally, data movement will take place based on job ID. That's all here. We will click OK and do save all. Before now it shows data bound, and before ending the template, we will go to source, and inside the data grid view, if you see, we have our modified templates. So it's a bound field, empid, but first name, if you see, that is not a bound field, it's a templated field, and we have edit item template as well as item template. Item template is one which will get displayed by default whenever you display the data in the grid view. But when you click the edit button link, you will end up into this edit item template, and we have a text box and a record field validator. Alright, this is for templated field first name. Next we have a templated field for job ID that contains two templates. One is for normal display and another one is for when user clicks the edit link button. So during that time we won't show the edit box, but instead we are showing the drop down list, and this drop down list is bound to the data source control DS jobs, and from there it will pick the job description and value field is job ID. Right, user sees job description and the internal data transfer takes place for job ID for the selected job description. All right, now let's go to drop down. Okay, we haven't yet ended it. Edit item template, we have this data bound, right? So let's pick edit data bindings, select the property to bind to. You can then bind it by selecting a field. Alternatively, you can bind it using the custom code expression. So at present we provided the combo box for the job ID as well as job description, right? So selected value, we can bind it to job ID field, right? User will see the job description and we want to bind it to the job ID for the selected value, right? Selected value, this is the bindable property, and the selected value we are binding it to the job ID field. Let's click OK here, save all, and when you go to source, this time if you see for job ID we are making a binding. Selected value is binding to job ID, right? You can look at the special field here what we are binding from our drop down list. There are other places also. If it is just an item template, you can see how it is binding to the data. %# bind first name. So this is how we are binding the first name if it is a normal item template. If it is a edit item template, then we are binding the text property with the first name, right? So the same way here, we are binding the selected value to the job ID field. Now let's switch back to the design view, and we can choose the end template editing. Right, that's all here. We will rebuild the solution once, and you can see rebuild is succeeded, and we can run the sample now. So let's edit Carlos, and you can see there is a record field validator tied to Carlos. Let me edit this and choose update. Web form unobtrusive mode requires okay. Record field validation requires a special entry. So we have to make an entry in the app settings. So this is the entry we need, and we will place this in our web form. Config file. So here is the web config, right, and configuration, and inside that we can place our app settings. We will rebuild the solution and run this again. Now let's say edit Carlos here, and here I am leaving it as empty and clicking update, and if you see the record field is popping up and telling that you cannot leave these as empty. Let me click cancel. Let me pick okay, let's go ahead with this AN, and if you see now we have the job description. We will pick marketing manager here and choose the update, and if you see the job description is changed. Let's pick area, and we will pick Chief Executive Officer and update. So you can see how this edit item template is working, right? During the edit mode, it displays the record field validator as well as the combo box for picking the job ID. That's all here in this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.